All right, guys, this one, it ain't going to be about God, Jesus, anything like that. You might even be able to comment on this video if you feel it necessary. Some of you I know been around a while. You've probably seen some of this stuff. But I have told you guys now this stuff I'm showing you here tonight, it's not even all of it. It's not even the gold, silver. I do have it over here, but it's not going to be no coins or anything. This is all just going to be uh, stuff I found where there was supposed to have been a built in 1912 a harness racing track here where nearby where I live, and I believe it was run by the mob. Now, when this thing got so big by, I think it was 1925, they shut it down. It was too big. Too big. They just shut it down. They didn't make it bigger and keep it going like they would something illegal. They shut it down. So I heard about that. Now you can't. I can tell you where it's at, and it took me a while to figure out where the track was because they've taken down everything that had anything to do with it. Everything except a few buildings. One of them is a stables that was built in 1912 by a lawyer. he uh, he didn't live on the property. It was just the stables for, I think he said it was 16, either 12 or 16 harness racing high dollar horses that was built right next to the track. It wasn't on the track property, it was built next to the track. Now, this property also had a practice track that ran around a pond out back. I got permission to metal detect all this property, and I basically found a trail that ran through that is not any part of a driveway or anything today. It actually runs through a different part. And I found so many different things on it that I have been told that that had to be an earlier trail that ran through there before any of this track and this stables was ever built. This stuff would have had to be older than that. So I'm going to show you a few of these things. Now, I didn't bring none of my stuff out that I have from out west, Indian stuff, none of that. This is all just stuff I found. Actually, last year I started metal detecting this area about this time, and the ground was still frozen. It still even had permafrost in the ground, and I was digging through digging through that to get down to these metal objects, and they were all at least like 7, 8 inches in the ground. They'd been there a while. But I also started thinking about this trail that I found through this property, and I proved it even went on. I got the permission to do the property just south of it, and I kind of proved that trail went down through there too as well. But it was it. I found more stuff from around the time of the track in between 1912 and 1925 on that property. So I think there might have been a curve or something that came in there that went around this one property. And the reason why I say that is because this property was built, it was the stables, and that's across the street from just the stables. They also had it was almost like a motel for the guys that actually drove the harness, the cart, and the horse, or what do they call that? The damn, uh, you know what I'm talking about. The guys that actually raced the horse, the harness, doing the harness racing, and but those guys lived in this building that is now somebody's house. They bought it and made a house out of it. And there was a bunch of stables down through there that held their horses and stuff that are now gone. That there's a pool and a big garage and all this in there now. But he allowed me to search up through that property too. But it was inside the property of the track. It wasn't outside that. So who knows what in 1912 how much they dug up, moved, destroyed, blew up, whatever, in order to make this track out here. So that would have caused a difference from me crossing the street to his house on this trail. I mean, all that stuff, who knows what could have been changed. But I did find a lot of stuff at that time frame as well. So I'm going to go into this a little bit just to give you guys an idea. And this is why I know that the trail I found goes back farther than just 1912 to 1925. These are hand forged bolts or nails, spikes. This one, it looks like it was broken off, but it's all hand. You could tell by the head of it. This is the head. The point would have been down here, but it was broken off. This is another one, and I believe this might have been some kind of bolt because you can see this has kind of got squared off here. Or maybe some kind of rivet of some kind. But you can also tell it was broken off. But it was hand forged. You can look at it. There ain't nothing machine made about that. This was a smaller, some kind of a nail, square nail, they call these, or square nails. And this is hand forged nail. That's still a pretty good size nail though, folks. Here's a longer, I don't know if you can see it on there, but this is a square nail as well. And it is hand forged as well. It isn't machine made or machine cut. Now I got a bunch of smaller ones than that. I mean, they're as sharp as a needle, folks. Sharp as a needle. Now these pieces, I don't know what these were, but they are forged, or what do they call it? Not forged. I can't remember. There's a name for it, folks. But this is some kind of a piece. You could see, I think it might have been a piece of a door, or it's thick, it's heavy, it's wrought iron, or forged iron, whatever. I can't remember the word. These are a couple other pieces. I believe this one that I found, because of the shape of it, I think because it's broken on this side, I think it had another shape just like this coming off this side. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like it could be like strapped to the side of a boat, and this would be a strap down, a tie that you'd tie your boat off to anchor it somewhere or something. That's what I kind of think this is, because, and the only reason I think that is because if you look at the old wagon ones, they didn't come down, curve down. They came up, and that was just to kind of wrap it around, tie it off. Well, with the boats, they curved down for some reason. That's what I found in my research. This, I have no clue. It was a hunk of metal I found, but it's got a heavy, like it was mounted to or welded to or something to something else on this side. It's smooth on this side. Kind of shaped, I don't know. It might have had a hole in it here or something. I don't know. It's a weird shape, but I found that. Now this here, folks, this comes from around 19, I believe around the time of the track. And if you look at this, it still has the little piece that you turn on top. It's a salt shaker. Still has a little piece that you turn on top to adjust how much salt you want to come out of it. Now, this is from the early 1900s. I know that for a fact. Let me see. Some of the horseshoes I have found. This will show you, and this ain't even all of them, folks. Matter of fact, my family has picked through a lot of my horseshoes, and they're in their houses now. But I do know this, and I'll kind of show you these, the difference in these. But as you can see on this horseshoe, you see how it's got this. They used to call this a steel toe. Like this was the front of the horseshoe, and it would go on the horse like this. Now these places back here in the back, now these could be worn down. I'm not for sure if they are or not, but it looks like they could be worn down. These could have been a winter horseshoe, especially from where I'm at up here. This could have been a winter horseshoe. This horseshoe, they claim because of the steel toe, is a round, and it was hand forged, folks. This was not machine done. And most of the military on the Union side in the Civil War, they were already using machines to make horseshoes. So, and they didn't do a whole lot of hand forging in 1860, 1870. So this is they believe it was either around 1860, 1880, somewhere in there, and somebody made it without using a machine. They did it by hand like the old time. Or it could be a little older than that, but not with this tip on it, because before the Civil War, they didn't have the steel toe on it. Now I'll show you the difference. Here's another one, and these got, they're some of them bigger than others, but this one also has where it's got the steel toe coming out on the top. If you look back here in the back, they're real thick back here. And let me see, I'm trying to point to this stuff. They're real thick back here, and I believe these are ice. These horseshoes were made for ice as well. And I'll show you here in a minute why I say that. This one here, I believe it still had a steel-toed tip on it, because you can kind of see it there. It's been wore off, but it's a completely different kind of a shape. Now, most of these things, if they had something extra on a horse, they had it on the inside of the horse's leg to keep the leg from slipping out away from each other. So whatever this would have been, I don't know. I don't know enough about it to tell you. Now this one I know for sure is a winter horseshoe, probably from between 1860s and early 1900s, because it's got the steel toe on the front. But you can actually see how much is built up. Let me see, where's my finger? On the underneath here, this would have been built up in order to help the horse walk on ice. Let me see, got those up there. Now I want to show you these two. Now these aren't even my good ones. One of them is my favorite, but my family has taken these. These are the oldest horseshoes I've found, and I did find these on the same property, almost in the same, like I said, on this trail. But this is one of them, and as you can see, how it's got these hooks that kind of come out on the end. There would be one of these, and see, these kind of pop down too. See how they kind of stick out on one side? I think these would have been used as like uh, a snow or ice, or I don't think it would have been I don't know how thick they would have been on mud, but you see how thin this is, folks. These I found several of these in the same area, and these were the others. See the difference? Now I thought, well, maybe these were racing horseshoes because they're lightweight, little bitty. Well, then they must have been racing little bitty horses then too, because there's another one just like it. Now I got it painted up Watachi green, because this one I'm gonna hang around my sun visor on my Jeep. That's what I want it for. But I've gotten a couple of these, and I've sent pictures of these out to blacksmiths and stuff, trying to date these horseshoes. And those I were one of the first ones I found, actually. And when I showed it to this one guy, blacksmith, I never even looked at that before. That's almost cut perfect. Something I just realized, having these two pieces laying here, folks, that I've been talking about. Look at this. It's almost the exact same cut. That curve. It's almost the same. I just noticed that because they were laying here together. Let me see. We're already 17 minutes in. Folks, there's a bunch of other stuff I got in here. Old spoons and stuff. But there's only one more I really want to show you, but it's in 3 pieces because I keep trying to clean it up enough to find out if I can figure out exactly what kind of which, let me see if I can hold it. See this? It's gone, folks. I'm trying to hold 3 pieces together because I've been cleaning it, and the more I do to it, the more I mess it up. Let me see if I can get a better grip on this so I can show it to you. Yeah, it went this way. All right. Trying to hold these pieces together, folks, best I can. But this gun, I was told, was probably an 1880s gun. This is actually it was a revolver, a black powder and ball revolver, and this is basically what's left of the part where you would load the shells into. But this is an old gun that I found not far from the front door of the stables that I was metal detecting at. So I figured, they said there was a lady that lived there on that property by herself for a long time. Maybe this was a gun she might have carried around on her property. And well, my son's got it now, but I've had old guns that worked that I carried around. So, and because she was there in the early 1900s, didn't mean somebody didn't leave her, because I think she had a husband or something at one time, and he died, or they divorced, and she got the property or something. She was the last one that owned the property, and then she donated it to the Parks Department. That's how I got permission to be on there. But it was either that or it was dropped along this trail. I claim there's a trail, an old trail, because we're right in between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And there were many trails that came up through there, folks, going from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. Most of the time, back before buses and trains and all that, the wealthy people went up the river, Mahoney River. You could go right straight from Pittsburgh all the way into Cleveland. That river, if you had money, you could do that. Most of the time, people coming out of Pittsburgh would come up to a town just south down here, south of us, Columbiana, I believe it was, somewhere around Columbiana, and they would get off of the boats and get on a stagecoach. The poor people, they get on a stagecoach, and it was a 30-hour trip from right about here where I live into Cleveland, Ohio. And people did, there was 4 stagecoaches that made them trips every day. 4 different stagecoaches running back and forth. So that's what I'm saying, folks. These guys think nothing was going on around here back in before this harness racing track was put in, and I've tried to show them they are wrong. I've got stuff dating back before that, and I wish I could find somebody who could really give me better dating on this stuff, because some of it I would really like to know about. I'm trying to put this stuff away. Hey guys, God loves you. I love you. Maybe my next video I'll bring out some more of the stuff I found out west. But just seek Jesus' path. That's all you need. There's nothing else on this earth that you will need more than that. And nothing else that will give you more than having that. Till next time, Tachi Running Freak. I'm out.